unceded ancestral homelands of the Ramaytush Ohlone people. As guests, we humbly extend our gratitude to the Ramaytush Ohlone elders and community. We recognize that we benefit from living and working on their traditional homeland, and we affirm their sovereign rights as First Peoples. As the original stewards of this land, the Ramaytush Ohlone understand the interconnectedness of all things and the importance of maintaining harmony with nature. Likewise, Pacifica School District commits to teaching our school community how to be responsible stewards of this land.
Thank you. Barbara, will you take the roll call?
Yes. Trustee Bernal?
Here.
Trustee Burkini is absent. Trustee Doggett?
Here.
Trustee Patel?
Here.
Trustee Villalobos?
Here. Thank you. The district digitally records the audio portions of the meetings. All recordings are kept in the superintendent's office for 30 days and are available during that time period for inspection by members of the public on district equipment without charge. In-person speakers wishing to address the board on agenda or non-agenda items, please complete a request card with your name, address, and the item number and submit it to the board president or the superintendent. You will be called to address the board and may speak for up to 3 minutes. Virtual speakers wishing to address the board on agenda or non-agenda items, please submit your first and last name and the agenda item you wish to speak on in the Q&A area of webinar. Please do not submit comments or questions in the Q&A area. You will be called to address the board. Your microphone will be unmuted and you may speak for up to 3 minutes. After you have spoken, your microphone will be muted. All right. The board met in closed session and no action was, we met in closed session regarding conference with labor negotiator, agency negotiator, Heather Olson, superintendent, and the board took no action. All right. Approval of the minutes. Any questions regarding the minutes of May 25th, 2022, Special Board of Trustees meeting? All right. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes of May 25th, 2022, Special Board of Trustees meeting?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Barbara, will you take the vote?
Yes. Trustee Bernal? Oh, I'm sorry. All in favor, please raise your hand. Motion passes 4-0. Thank you.
All right. Are there any questions regarding the minutes of June 1st, 2022, regular Board of Trustees meeting? All right, do I have a motion to approve the minutes of June 1st, 2022, regular Board of Trustees meeting?
All motion to approve?
You have a second?
I'll second.
All right. Barbara, will you take the vote,
Sure.
please?
All in favor, please raise your hand. Motion passes 4-0.
All right. All right, all of items on the consent agenda will be approved with one motion, which is not debatable and which requires a unanimous vote for passage. Any member of the board, superintendent, or the public so requests, any item shall be removed from this section and placed in the regular order of business following the approval of the consent agenda. Are there any questions regarding the agenda or consent agenda?
I am going to ask that we pull off coordinator of special education. We had that as a placeholder and we're still in the process of interviewing, so we do not need that today.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? All right. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda with the removal of
The coordinator of special education.
the coordinator of special education? Do I have a motion to approve the agenda and consent agenda?
I'll motion.
And do I have a second?
I'll second.
Barbara, will you take the vote?
All in favor, please raise your hand. Motion passes 4-0. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, communications. LSEA.
Anybody see Megan?
There she is.
And can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. LSEA is pleased that we settled on a fair and generous compensation package to take effect next school year. We are looking forward to your approval this evening. We are appreciative of the leadership and facilitation of Carla during the negotiations process. LSEA hopes that our classified union also settles on a fair and generous package very soon. Although progress had been made on a total compensation, there are other areas that still need attention, like combo classes, class size, time attending 504 IEPs and SSTs, past contract hours, etc. While compensation is incredibly important, there are still valuable ways for the district to recruit and retain its teachers. Even with the increase to compensation, some of our teachers have resigned from PSD. We look forward to getting back at the table next year and working on creative solutions with the district team. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. CSEA.
Hello.
Hello? Can you hear me?
A little bit louder would be great.
I can try. I can just speak up. How about that? I don't know about my volume and all that. Okay. Hello. My name is Nicole Sayers.
Pull your
What?
pole just slightly so that we can see your face.
There we
you
go.
Perfect.
Hello. My name is Nicole Sayers, and I am the president of CSEA. It's hard to believe, but today I speak to you during our summer break. Today was also the first day of our ESA extended school year program. It is my 14th extended school year program, and I can honestly say that things went very smoothly and the kids adjusted well, and the staff, I really believe we're happy to be there. CSEA is very happy that the district and the teachers were able to settle on what appears to be a comprehensive and thoughtful compensation package. The Pacifica School District teachers have put their heart and soul into their students this year, as they do every year. It is nice to see the district acknowledge that, as well as attempting to attract and retain.
Uh-oh. You're frozen, Nicole.
Did we lose you?
Let's give her one more minute.
Excuse me.
Nicole.
We may not have to meet in July. I will do everything I can to help with that. I cannot make any promises, but CSEA is committed to working with the district on behalf of our CSEA members. I want to thank all the hardworking employees of the Pacifica School District, and I wish you all a very good summer. As always, I thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nicole.
Right, people wishing to address the board. We don't have anybody in public.
There is one in the question and answers, Michelle Gray. You want her not to talk?
Hi all, can you hear me? It's Michelle Gray.
Yes, we can hear you.
Hi, you think I would know how to do this. I'm supposed to put it in the Q&A, I think. So anyway, hi everybody. Just wanted to provide a quick update on the status of some of these community and PSD collaboration and efforts to work on our tracks and fields. The first one I'll just give a brief update on is Valleymar. Several months ago, the Valleymar PTO had committed over $20,000 to provide funding to an organization to come in and help improve the track. It was going to happen over the April break. If you can believe it, we actually got rain, so it was delayed, but it did happen last week. And I was out there working with the folks and taking a look around at things. The track looks great. It's definitely much safer. Our challenge there is the gophers, right? So the gophers don't care if it's track or field. And overnight, they immediately started to dig holes into this brand new track. And so I sent a note over to Josie and George just saying, we've got to get the gophers under control, or this over $20,000 grant to get the track in place is just going to go to waste. So these gophers, we need to continue to just sort of battle them. We can't take our foot off the gas with the gophers, especially in the springtime this season right now. So we've got to double down our efforts there. And I don't think the vendor has stepped up at all. So, again, we're just hoping to make sure that we're having the fields and track in a much safer status for when school comes back. Sadly, I don't want to ruin it for anybody, but in about 8 weeks. I know, sorry for that. For IBL, we have secured a community commitment from the local soccer organization, AYSO, and they're going to provide some funding as well as the IBL PTO to upgrade the field, which is absolutely amazing. So IBL Middle School uses that field every day, where students have PE every single day, and it's an incredible program for the school. It is going to take some quick work to make this all sort of lay out and implement the changes prior to the start of the school year, but I'm confident we can do it. And I just want to acknowledge Josie and George for being able to respond to questions and move things forward quickly so we can take advantage of this opportunity for these community organizations to provide funding to really upgrade these fields and tracks for our schools. So if there's any questions, please let me know. And looking forward to a nice summer. Hope to see everyone around. And we'll meet up again at the next PSD. And hopefully I'll have more news on some strong collaborations with PSD from community groups. Thanks.
Thanks, Michelle.
Is that the last person online?
That is.
All right, correspondence.
The only correspondence I have is that I got my PEC membership card in the mail last week. So as you know, PEC has moved very much to the asking for support through membership. And just like parents would join the PTO, they also ask people to consider becoming a PEC member. So I got mine just today.
All right, let's start. Trustee Vidal.
I have met with the Pacifica Coalition, and they're going to break for the summer, and it's all of the volunteer groups in town get together and compare how they can help each other. Met with Dr. Olson, went to IBL graduation, Cabrillo graduation, 3 at Sunset Ridge, and LMEC promotion. And especially the promotions were really cute. LMEC was adorable. There was a dinner on Saturday to honor Lynette Lazar, who is a volunteer who did a lot of support for special ed families at LMEC over the years, and she's moving on. And so it was really nice to have that dinner to honor her and thank her for everything she's done for all the families.
Trustee Patel.
No correspondences to report.
Okay, Trustee Villalobos.
I went to the Ocean Shore promotion, the Ortega promotion, and I also attended the special education dinner that was organized by Linda Benares. And so I want to thank her for that because it was a lovely dinner to honor Lynette Lazar, who has been an integral volunteer to the special ed program. And it just made me think of Elna Flynn as well, and how our special ed volunteers are not included in the Elna Flynn nominations.
Oh, they were at LMEC?
Oh, they did?
Yeah, oh,
Okay.
absolutely.
Okay.
Yep.
So,
Gabby, her last name's escaping me, but Asqueda was, they made a great presentation.
oh, great, okay. And that's all, but I just really wanted to thank Lynette for her years of volunteer service, and she will be missed.
Yes, she absolutely.
Well, for me, my family got sick, but fortunately, we were well enough to attend my daughter's graduation from IBL. So, really happy she made it to that. We were right on the edge. And I also met with you even during that time, but that's it for me.
Yeah, that graduation was great.
It was. Congratulations to all the graduates, by the way.
It's great to see the excitement.
All right. District business. The district values the goals provided in our local control accountability plan, the LCAP, and strategic plan. All of our district board agenda items are tied to these goals. One or more goals are listed in the description of each board agenda item. The details of each of those district goals can be accessed at our district website at www.pacificasd.org. All right. 11A, public disclosure of collective bargaining agreements, and this is Ms. Peterson.
Thank you. So one of the things that we do when we reach an agreement with our bargaining units is per a Senate bill or Assembly Bill 1200, it does govern the law of the fiscal health of school districts. So we do prepare a financial analysis for the Board of Trustees to review and approve that demonstrates that the district can afford the settlement that they have reached with the bargaining unit. So, and I know she's going to go over the entire settlement, so I won't get into the details. But what this disclosure reflects is the financial impact of the settlement, and then it also it demonstrates what is your budget, and what are the increases to the budget, and then it demonstrates over a 3-year period that you can afford the settlement. This disclosure was sent to the County Office of Education. I did meet with them last week, and they concurred with our financial analysis that we will be able to meet our financial obligations for the current year and 2 years going out. So it's a very detailed analysis. It shows the whole budget. It shows the costs of the settlements. And then on the last page, it also shows the reserve percentages for the district, demonstrating whether the district can meet its reserve requirement. It's required that the district superintendent and the CBO and the president or clerk sign off on this AB 1200 and submit it to the County Office of Education after approval. So I don't know if you have any questions. It is very detailed, and I know that Dr. Torres will go over the actual settlement in the next item.
This is the county's final stamp on, yes, you can afford this.
And do you all want to review it in the next one? You said your sheets, Dr. Torres, you're going to go over it in the next item, because this is an action item. Do we want to hold off?
This is an action item. It's the disclosure that gets submitted to the County Office of Education that demonstrates affordability. The next item is also an action item, approving the actual settlement.
Okay.
So it makes sense to approve the
Okay.
county's approval of it, and then
All right, any other questions regarding this item? All right, do I have a motion to approve the public disclosure of collective bargaining agreements?
All motion to approve?
And do I have a second?
I'll second.
Barbara, will you take the vote?
Yes, all in favor, please raise your hands. Thank you. Motion passes 4-0.
All right. Tentative agreement with Laguna Salada Education Association for the 2022-2023 through the 2024-2025 school years. Dr. Torres?
Good evening, Board of Trustees. It is recommended tonight that the Board of Trustees approve the tentative agreement between Pacifica School District and the Laguna Salada Education Association for the school years 2022-2023 through 2024-2025. The background: Pacifica School District collaboratively engaged in interest-based bargaining with LSEA. Negotiations took place during this school year over 6 negotiating days. Our teams use an interest-based bargaining process. This is a process that enables our teams to be joint problem solvers and satisfy our mutual interest to achieve a positive result. The articles that our teams came to agreements on were Article 1, Agreement, Article 9, Compensation, Article 11, Class Size, specifically homeschool, Article 13, Standards-Based Evaluation Process, including forms, Article 15, Safety Conditions of Employment. The current LSEA collective bargaining agreement will be updated to reflect changes in Articles 1, 9, 11, 13, and 15 for the years 2022 through 2025. This agreement shall remain in force and effect from July 1st, 2022, up to and including June 30th, 2025. And thereafter shall continue in effect year by year until a successor agreement is reached. The parties agree to complete a public notice process at least 90 days before the expiration of this agreement in order to begin negotiations on or about April 15th unless otherwise agreed by both parties. Within this agreement, both parties agree to set monthly school year calendar dates for bargaining sessions by September 30th. And a couple highlights of our tentative agreement with LSEA is $5,000 added to each cell of the certificated salary schedules. And that's both certificated salary and school psychologist certificated salary schedules, a $5,000 stipend for special education teachers, and a stipend for asynchronous mandatory training, and also in the recruitment purposes, honoring all years of service that they have had in either public or private schools. And those are a few of the highlights.
Are there any questions? Do I have a motion to approve the tentative agreement between Pacifica School District and LSEA for the 2022 to 2023 through 2024 to 2025 school years?
Motion to approve?
And do I have a second?
A second?
All right, Barbara, will you take the vote?
Yes, all in favor, please raise your hand. Motion passes 4-0. Thank you.
So if we were in a real time, this room would be full of people and we'd be here.
By the way, a big clap for that. All right, LCAP local indicators, Mr. Lucy.
All right, I'm hoping this works. I'm having some technology difficulties because I can't see that and can't find my little arrow on that screen. No, it's fine now.
You can move that.
I think this works, right?
It's not working up there, but what I can probably try to do is find the presentation and see if I can also run it through there.
Yeah. Sorry, it's
That's okay.
it's for some reason I can't see my little thing. And I'm working off two screens. All right. So the item that you have in front of you is actually an information item. It's something we do annually. It's connected to it's the exact same time that you're actually approving or the LCAP is up for approval. And this is the local control accountability plan, the local indicators report. Let me put this in.
Could you actually, that's display A back there. If you could fix that one to include your presentation.
Oh, okay.
I messed it up, sorry.
Oh, okay. All right. Oh, let me.
Now it's on there. Who's that? Is that you on this screen?
Right, yeah, that's me.
All right, so I switched to A,
Yeah, if you can go back to A.
or else?
That's
Okay.
That's me up there,
Okay.
but the Zoom people want to be up there. There you go, sorry. There you go, you got it.
All right. That mess you guys up? You okay?
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
We can't see that on the Zoom though.
Oh, you can't see on the Zoom?
No,
Okay,
when
so
you moved it,
let me do a share then. Do a share.
the Zoom is on a different monitor right now. It's over there now. I'm
Oh,
gonna flip it.
because I have the Zoom going?
Let me see.
Oh, whichever. But right now, it's not visible on the broadcast. What's visible is on that screen.
Oh, that's you. Okay, that's you. You're controlling that screen.
Do you have Zoom up, Phil?
Yeah, what I can do is I can go back to where we were at, and if you just kind of shut yours off,
You
then
got it.
that should hopefully. Can't find my cursor now. Oh, there it is.
There you go.
All right, and then hopefully you guys will be able to connect back up to there, right? I want to do.
Okay, here it is. Yeah.
Okay,
On the Zoom, yeah.
all right. Even though I'm sharing,
Want me to share?
I'm sharing, it seems like I'm sharing, but for some reason, I don't have it up here.
There you go, good
Got
job.
it.
Okay, there we go.
All right. Okay, I'm just gonna turn around, very no fun. All right, so this is, okay, this is the again, this is the local control accountability plan. It's part of the local control accountability plan. It's the local indicators report that's done yearly at the same time as approval of the local control accountability plan. This is an informational item. You can advance it to the next one. And what, go back one. So as part of the LCFF evaluation rubrics, or AKA California dashboard, which we haven't had the last 2 years now, but we will have this upcoming year, there are 11 indicators that are part of the measuring the performance and how we keep our local control accountability part of the plan. There are 6 state indicators. Actually, 4 of the indicators are connected to a K-8 school district. The other 2 are for high school district. And then there's 5 local indicators. And this presentation focuses on those 5 local indicators, which one is around priority 1, which is basic conditions, and that's we get that indicator through our school accountability report card. Then priority 2, 3, and 6, which are around implementation of academic standards, parent engagement, and school climate, we get that information from our panorama surveys. And then we do a self-assessment survey, which is as access to courses of study, broad courses of study. So priority 1, basic services. The tool we use is as I said, is the SARC, or the School Accountability Report Card. And these numbers are the most updated numbers that we have. They're connected to the past school year. And part of it is assigned teachers and access to curriculum-aligned instructional materials and in our safe school facilities. There are 3 sections there. The teachers, we're 0 in our missed assignments of teachers of English learners, total teacher missed assignments, and vacant teacher positions. Access to instructional materials. There is all students have access to their own copies of the instructional materials, both for use at school and at home. And then our facilities conditions. We only have 1 school or facility that is not in good repair, or it didn't get the good repair standard. It didn't meet the good repair standard. That was Ingram B. Lacey. And I think with the construction work this summer and all of the things around facilities, I think we'll have next year we'll have 0 in that column. And then there's priority 2, and this particular tool that we use it through the Panorama survey, but it actually is the California Department of Education Reflection survey. And there was actually 2 options of those surveys. We use option 2. And this April of 2021, we had 93 teachers complete the reflection survey. And then just in comparison, we had 111 in 2020. And the findings were pretty much the same. The results of the surveys were pretty much the same as the survey in 2020. Our English language arts, English language development, our math, we're at full implementation phase. And science and history, we're at beginning development or initial implementation stage. Priority 3 is around parent engagement. Again, we use a parent survey through Panorama. And the original objective of this priority, or this local indicator, was to determine a baseline of parent perception of their level decision-making and participation at their child's school. The data or the results that we got from this survey are actually a little bit, you have to look at them with the understanding that the surveys were taken 2 years apart from each other. The ones that we're comparing it to is the April 2019 survey, which was 2 school years before the December 21st when we gave it. So that kind of skews the data a bit. There was a year there of no in-person school, so it's hard. We didn't have a survey that asked those particular questions. And so, as you can see, the percentages went down a bit, but again, you have to take into account that those surveys were 2 years apart from each other. Hopefully, we'll have better, but in 2022, we'll have more of a consistent look at those particular percentages. School climate, we have 3 years of data there. Again, there was a little bit of separation between our September 2019 and December 2021. And this was measuring students' perception of their connectedness to school and school safety. And as you can imagine, during distance learning, measuring school connectedness, we would have gotten some really different data. But as you can see, the numbers did drop as far as percent of students responding positively. Not as much in the school safety as in the connectedness to school, or school connectedness. And then there's priority 7, which is access to a broad course of study, and that was a self-reflection survey. And this data is actually from 2019 because we weren't able to give it this past year or this upcoming year. Because, again, we did this with a selected group of a variety of staff members and got an idea of that when we didn't do the self-reflection survey this past year. So what was reported in the dashboard was that this data that we received was from 2 years past, and that a lot has changed, and we're hoping to get more updated data in that area. But the barriers within school were alternative from that past survey were alternative methods of demonstrating skill competency, tools to scaffold learning, inconsistency in a lot for certain subjects. And then barriers outside of school was lack of parent education, inconsistent access to science experience, which I would assume is still a barrier. And then a lack of access to internet and technology, which I don't think is as much of a barrier as it was 2 years ago. And that is it, I believe. Again, this is an information item, so if you have any questions about that, I do, again, want to emphasize the idea that this data is a bit skewed because we had a little bit of a break in many of those local indicators, so hopefully we'll be able to get another consistent set of data along these lines. And especially with regards to curriculum implementation, we'll be going through a lot of adoptions, so hopefully we'll be looking at better numbers in the upcoming years.
And so when will you be doing the priority 7, access to broad course of study again?
So we usually do that in middle of the school year, so it would be somewhere in December, January, but I can't actually say for certain when. It's usually because we want to select a variety of we want to get special ed teachers, we want to get teachers from various different schools, from various different grade levels, and so on, and various different staff, not just teachers, but other staff members that work with students. So yeah, December or January,
okay.
That would be our hope.
Any other questions? Thank you. The adoption of the 2022-2023 Local Control Accountability Plan, LCAP. Mr. Lucy again.
Yes, so this is up for approval. The last meeting we had on June 1st was the public hearing for this. May 27th, the public had the LCAP available to them to review. We had the public hearing, and before those two things, we had a work study on May 11th. Mm-hmm. Is that right? Thank you, Josie. And so nothing substantial changed between our last meeting at the public hearing and the approval. Only slight little things from San Mateo County were adjusted, mostly numbers, just so that they were a little more accurate and compliant with what was the intent, but no actions or metrics or the main body of the LCAP was not touched at all. So we're recommending it for approval tonight.
Are there any questions regarding the 2022-2023 Local Control Accountability Plan? All right, do I have a motion to adopt the 2022-2023 Local Control Accountability Plan?
Motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second?
Barbara, will you take the vote, please?
All in favor, please raise your hand. Motion passes 4-0.
Thank you.
All right, adoption of the 2022-2023 budget. Ms. Peterson?
Thank you. Along with the LCAP, the budget was also presented to the board at the study session and the public hearing on June 1st. Just kind of a reminder, the budget was based on the governor's May revision. And as this final state budget gets approved, in the next several days or so, then the district can look at revising our budget based on the final state budget. And looking at the first interim report, when we have all of our final staffing and the final state revenues, we would come back to you with revisions. The budget is a positive status, which means the district will meet its financial obligations for the current fiscal year, 2 years out. The full budget presentation is posted on the June 4th agenda, just along with the LCAP. So now we're asking you to approve the proposed budget for 2022/2023 school year.
Are there any questions regarding the 2022-2023 budget? All right. Do I have a motion to adopt the 2022-2023 budget?
A motion.
Okay, do I have a second?
A second.
All right, Barbara, will you take the vote, please?
Yes, all in favor, please raise your hand. Thank you. Motion passes 4-0.
Thank you. All right, transitional kindergarten plan information. This is Dr. Olson.
Okay, I present this information to you tonight for information only. It is a requirement of the state in terms of the transitional kindergarten plan, but there's no need for approval. So we'll let Mr. Lucy put the presentation up for us. Want me to do it?
I'm so sorry. Yeah, can you do it?
Yep, so that's B.
For
A or
some-
B?
That is B,
B.
but I'm stuck here on, can't get out.
You ready, Zoom? Does that work for you?
Can you share your screen through Zoom?
Sure. Let's, hang on one second. Share screen. There we go. Good. Is that good?
Yep.
Okay, so, as you know, in education, we use a lot of acronyms and a lot of phrases. So the question is, you've heard universal pre-K or universal TK. And just to remind you, the intent of the legislation is to provide affordable care for all 3- and 4-year-olds throughout California. And the purpose is that there are going to be multiple providers for that. So if we look on the left-hand side, there's the state preschool program. From the school's perspective, we provide transitional kindergarten, and so that's our contribution. And then on the right-hand side is Head Start programs, community-based organizations, private preschools also provide care in this way. We're going to be talking about transitional kindergarten. So, there's a huge interest in terms of providing affordable care for young children. So essentially what happens is that the start date for TK gets moved back by 2 months every year. So that next school year it'll be a student whose 5th birthday occurs by September 2nd to February 2nd. And so it'll plod along until all 4-year-olds have schooling in 2025, 26. The biggest change for next year is the class size ratio, around 1 adult for every 12 students. This was prior to the May revise, but staffing ratios are subject to future legislative appropriations. And then the intent is the following year is that there would be 1 adult for every 10 students. So for us, the way that will be provided is with 1 teacher and 1 paraeducator for each classroom of 24 in the next year. Let's see, how do I change the next slide? Hang on one second. This is a multifaceted, if we look at plans, they include facilities, budget, human resources, I'll talk a bit more about staffing and credentialing, and then enrollment, how many students do we have? Curriculum and instruction, professional development, and staff and community engagement. And being honest is that we are still in the planning stages of this. We do currently have transitional kindergarten classes. We have 3 this year. We probably will have 4 next year. Right now we intend to have 4. But the pieces around facilities, if we look at another 2 months of students will be coming on every year. In theory, that should probably be an additional class each year if all of those students were to choose the public school option. The administrator on special assignment will be working to identify empty classrooms, where would be the next space. The huge opportunity for a win on this is how to think about transitional kindergarten as well as our special ed preschool, and where is there an opportunity for inclusion in there. Oh, it doesn't change when I'm on the, I have to go on to. Okay, so funding, TK students who meet the age and program requirements generate ADA when a school district is funded in LCFF. When we are community funded, there is no additional funding for additional students. If we look at the number of students that we have in 2022-23, these are the state's projection numbers that they sent out. So the average that they expect, and those are based on birth rates, is 114. Our current enrollment is 84. Transitional kindergarten is the most variable of any of our enrollments. It's similar to kindergarten, but even more variable. People tend to move when their kids are this age, as well as may have enrolled them, but a higher percentage of students don't attend in the long run. So while we do have 84, we want to make sure that we have as many classrooms as we do, that we have enough classrooms for the students who are enrolled. So we're not predicting huge swings of students, possibly going from where we have maybe 84 students right now. At the peak, it could be about 200 students. So that would be 8 classrooms of TK students. If we go to a 1-to-10 ratio, then we would have, that would be 20 class. We'll see, let me do the math on that one. No, then it would be 10 classrooms. So between 8 and 10 classrooms. But for us, not wanting to build additional classrooms, using the classrooms that we do have, and looking at, as we come out of the construction, where are there openings, and trying to match that to where students want to attend school. In terms of TK and credentialing requirements, teachers that were assigned to teach kindergarten before 2015 are grandfathered in to teach TK. Otherwise, a way that you would be qualified to teach would be additional units in early childhood education, professional experience working with preschool age children, or a child development teacher permit. And so One of the challenges that's going to be out there in the world is hiring enough qualified teachers. And so looking at how we can encourage people with an interest to get these units through programs like the County Office of Ed. So this year for transitional kindergarten, this next year, we intend to have 2 classes at Sunset Ridge and 2 classes at Ortega. There will be 24 students per class. And the way that we're going to address the one adult to 12 student ratio is with 1 teacher and 1 paraeducator per class. Many next steps. So one would be to post and hire for the paraeducators. Moving through the waiting list procedures, I don't think that we have made it through the wait list. There was a great interest in almost a whole classroom of students at Ortega, and since we have announced that we were opening the 4th class at Ortega, I'm not certain that we've had the opportunity to move through that wait list, but I think that should take care of most of those needs. And then continue to enroll students for TK. Next year, the work that needs to happen is identify available space and the timeline for rolling out. If we add an additional 2 months of students, approximately 1 to 2 new classes. And currently they're at our TK to 5 schools, but our next placement would be at one of the K-8 schools. Tracking the TK enrollment projections, we did a district-wide demographic study prior to the pandemic, and we felt like we had accurate numbers at that point. I think they got shaken up just a little bit, so it probably would be good to get a sense of our district enrollment as well as our TK enrollment projections. We have not had opportunity to do staff and community engagement. We used to have a close relationship with the community preschools and childcare providers, and that's fallen off a little bit since the pandemic. We're not in competition with them. They offer a different product than we do. What's important to us is that connection, so that when students do enter the Pacifica School District, whether it be for TK or for kindergarten, that we make a warm handoff and that we're able to provide students a rich and engaging instructional experience. So in terms of staffing, Dr. Torres is going to be busy with credentialing, job descriptions, hiring. It's not pressing for us right now at this minute, but we're going to have to be proactive about it. Looking at expanded learning opportunities, so just like the interest is in terms of providing free or affordable preschool experiences for students, there's also an interest in having students have expanded learning beyond just the school hours. And so how can we provide those expanded learning opportunities? Again, another important role for the administrator on special projects is we feel confident that we will be providing expanded learning opportunities at Sunset Ridge, where we have our largest percentage of students that fall into that unduplicated category. But we also have students throughout the district that have that need. And so thinking about how we would provide the expanded learning opportunities, and very important at both TK and kindergarten, to make sure that they have a longer school day. And then I think the real win in this is starting to think about the opportunities for the connection to the special ed preschool program and inclusion. I don't have any easy answers to that. Yeah, several people have said they've heard me say that we'd like to move the preschool out of LMEC. We would like the preschool to be on a school campus with general education students, and I think if we look at 4-year-olds in TK, it's a great opportunity to design around inclusion and build that as a part of our program. And so someone said to me the other day, oh, you're going to have TK, and if inclusion inclusion's just a bonus on that. And I said, no, when you really design from that perspective and say, this is how we want to do this, and I don't have any easy answers, like, here's the clear path to this. But if we say, this is important to us, and for 4-year-olds, we want to make sure that all kids have access to a school campus and a school principal, and so perhaps we could design TK with that as a bonus. So, or not as a bonus, but just as a design feature. So I think it's a great opportunity. It just will require a lot of thought in terms of space and kind of the timing of that, communication with the community. And so this is all work that we'll be doing next year. I think that is it. What questions do you have? Let me just make sure that's the end of my presentation. I can't tell whether I'm on Zoom or
Yeah.
I'm on Zoom. Yes, discussion and questions. What questions do you have? Yes.
This is a lot of amazing work to pull this all together, the transitional TK program. The enrollment projections that you got from, I believe, the county, what is your assessment of those projections?
From the state. So
from
those
the
were
state.
state projections. They're based on birth rate, and back in the pre-pandemic dates, demographers were typically within, we used to work with a demographer in our other district. The man was never more than 15 students off, like almost right on, right? But that has changed, and like I said, it's most variable at this age. If somebody's going to move, they're most likely going to move before they start TK in kindergarten. So we don't know. We really truly don't know. We need to have spaces for every person that's interested, but we also don't want to be vastly overstaffed. So when I say we intend to have 4, that's 100 students or just under 100 students, 96 students. If we should find in August that it were significantly lower, we would probably have 3 classes, through attrition, not necessarily taking anyone's job away from them, but that would be kind of a natural way to do that. It's very hard to judge at this age.
Yeah. Okay.
Any other questions? All right, I'm excited about the work.
Okay, we have eliminated 11G, which is, yes. So 11H, resolution number 2022-06-15-A, calling for an election on November 8th, 2022, and this is Dr. Olson as well.
So one of the most important functions of a school district is participating in school board member elections. And we have 3 board members that are up for a 4-year term in this next election. And so we do need to officially pass this resolution in order to run the election. So there are 3 board members that are up for a 4-year election. Typically, we have, as a district, prior to me being superintendent, the board made a decision to pay for the candidate statement so that all folks would be interested in participating in the election. And then we just specify things, so if there should be a legitimate tie, that rather than rerun an election, to participate in the election costs about $40,000, I think is what we paid last year. Might be a little bit more, right, Josie?
Yeah, it depends on what other counties or districts are in, and it was a little more.
It was a little bit more than that. But if there were a legitimate tie, that we would do it by lot as opposed to running another election. So are there any questions about the election? The candidates would indicate their interest between July 18th and August 12th. 2 years ago, Elizabeth and I hosted a candidate info night via Zoom. We should probably think about doing that. We did it on end of July, but maybe we could think about doing that in July 20th or something like that around the board meeting. So, any questions about the election?
Question? All right, well, this is an action item. Do I have a motion to adopt Resolution 2022-06-15-A, calling for an election on November 8th, 2022?
Make a motion.
And do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right, Barbara, will you take the vote, please?
Yes, all in favor, please raise your hand. Motion passes 4-0. Thank you.
All right, future agenda items.
Okay, I do believe that we will probably ask you to come back on July 20th because we hope to settle negotiations soon with CSEA, but that would be for the approval. I think it'll be a relatively quick board meeting. We're also going to be doing a fair amount of hiring. We have some really important openings, and so we'd love to move through that process of that. So I think the July 20th meeting will be relatively short, but the one other thing is we are going to, in terms of our catch-up with the CSBA, with our board policies, we're going to work with CSBA and do as opposed to try to catch up on the 150 policies, we're going to use this time to redo all of our policies. Obviously, the ones that are out of date and not current will get the most attention, but it makes sense to just do that. None of this will happen during July 20th, just a contract to do that. That would be about $10,000 to do that work, but then we know that we'll be all caught up when we're done with that. So,
Is it possible to add something to July 20th? It's just I see that the COVID update is for August 10th. If there's a surge or any kind of new information coming into July, I think it might be good to have a conversation about it, just in case if we have to take next steps for August 10th.
okay. We can definitely do a COVID update on that. I was actually just saying to Yolanda today, so one of the challenges is around testing for next year, depends on state funding. And while they legally met the requirement for finishing the budget, there's still a lot more conversation that goes on and how much COVID funding will be available for testing. But that seems like that would be a great topic to talk about. And I can share what I know at that point. Right. And we all know how that changes. But you're right, that would be proactive. Thank you for that. Anything else?
Well, this is a first. I don't even know what to do. All right, well, I'm going to adjourn the meeting at 7:58. Yay! It's the fastest meeting we've ever had.
Recording